Hi, everyone. It's really nice to meet you, and we're really excited to have you here. We'll give a few more minutes for other people to join. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. In the meantime, feel free to share where are you joining us from. I assume you all know we're from Israel. I'd love to hear where are you from. Hi, Benjamin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
I see people are still joining. Let's wait for one more minute. Okay, let's get started. So as I said, we're really excited to have everyone here and talk to you briefly about all the really great and exciting things that were happening here in ForeSight. During the webinar, the lines will be muted, but at the end of the webinar, after the presentation, we will unmute you and give you a chance to speak to us, ask questions, feedbacks, whatever you feel like. The webinar is recorded, and we will send you the recording after the webinar. So if you missed it or if you want to share it with your team, feel free. Benjamin, feel free to take it from here.
Thank you very much. So, hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm very excited to be here. This is, I think, the second webinar like this we've done in the last 6 months. So the idea is to have a way to get everybody together and introduce new features that we've released and expose them to you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm assuming most of you do know me, but just in case, I'm Benjamin Kemmler. I'm the Global Director of Customer Success for ForeSight. And so let's go ahead. Okay, what I'm going to be doing today is going over 7 different features, and I divided it up into 2 categories here. One are features that are available to all customers. Okay, these are free, included in whatever subscription that you happen to have. Okay, and then I have a set of features that are some of you might have in your subscription, okay, but they are available as add-ons for those of you that don't. So I wanted you to see what they are. And of course, if you find them interesting, if you think they're valuable, if you want to find out more about them, then please contact myself or Mark, whoever your customer success manager is, and we will be happy to take it further with you and give you a tryout and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is something hopefully you already know about, is something our ForeSight Academy. And that is a place where we have a set of use case video guides. They're available both in the Success Center and on the Panaya YouTube channel. And it's a collection of 3 to 4 minute, very short video tutorials, really to kind of show you the most common use cases and how you would do it in ForeSight so you don't have to guess. And the reason I brought this in here is that because we've added some more use cases, some more tutorials since perhaps the last time we did the webinar. Those include what we call the enhanced domains migration. For those of you, by the way, again, we're not familiar with that, I'll remind you, enhanced domains migration is a compelling event that Salesforce is forcing us to do. I say us because Panaya, we are also customers of Salesforce, and it involves to enhance some security around the idea of domains, and therefore we have to change the URLs of our sandboxes and our production orgs and different things to different formats. Okay, and this is something that's going to be enforced, I think, over the next year. And therefore, if you're not, you haven't complied by that time, then certain things in your org are not going to work anymore. Certain URLs, for example, images and things like that. And the video basically tells you how you can use the free text search to just put in the old URL names and find exactly where they are and make it really simple and easy for you to do that migration. We also have a video about the migration to Salesforce Flow. Again, a compelling event that Salesforce is making us do to migrate our process builders and workflow rules to Flow. And again, we have our automation overview capability, which helps you to do that. And again, the video will give you an example of how that works. And also something I'm going to talk about more today, which is about our new AI generated feature called Explain. And there's a video about that. I'm just going to show you for a moment. I'm going to be flipping in and out between the, of course, the presentation and the system itself. So in this case, I'm just showing you here in the Success Center, okay, where you have the ForeSight Academy right here, and you have here the list of all those tutorials available. Okay, so I really, really encourage everybody take advantage of this. It's a great way to do some self-learning and also expose yourselves to maybe some use cases that you haven't thought about that you can use Panaya for. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, next one is very exciting new feature. I call it predefined technical debt views. Okay, what is it? What is it about? The idea is that we were able to select from what we call predefined filtered views in the all components view. And the idea is to help you quickly identify technical debt candidates for cleanup. Right, so literally we'll see with 1 or 2 clicks of a button, you can find amazing information about how to candidates for technical debt to help clean up and improve the health of your org. So what's in it for me? Me meaning you, okay, right? So when you guys look at this presentation, you're asking yourselves, why the heck would I want to use this? And here's some examples we're going to look at: finding complex formulas to simplify them, finding components related to packages, for example, that are no longer in use, inactive automations, unused reports and dashboards, and so on. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. Okay. I'm here in a demo org of mine, and you go here over under the overview to the all components view. That's right there. Everybody should have access to that. Again, that's part of a standard subscription. Okay, and the idea over here under the all components, this is the area where you can create your own custom views. But when you open that up now, you can see that we have under the Panaya views a set of predefined views that we've added. You should ignore everything that's up here. These are, and originally we created our own custom views in order to do this, but now we've basically added them now in to the baked in already now into the account, so you don't have to create them yourselves. So let's take a look at some examples. We have one here that's called formulas and lookups. And what the idea here is that all we did was, again, apply some certain filters here. Okay, everybody can do this on your own. Okay, but if I want to look at what I'm trying to do here is look at custom fields. So I'm looking at the type of field. I say API name is __C to represent a custom field. And I'm looking for everything where we say the impacting components, that's the upstream dependencies, is at least 1. And we're sorting it here as I want to look at the ones with the highest number of impacting components. So this represents formula fields, potentially formula fields. And the reason we have a lot of impacting components is because by definition, all the fields that appear in those formulas are considered impacting components. Okay, if I change something in the metadata definition of those fields, then the formula itself, the field with the formula, might behave differently. Okay, and so let's take a look at an example here. If I look here at the opportunity origin, okay, and first of all, what I can do here is go to the view source. And I can see here, right there, there's the formula. It looks, pretty complex. All right. And the idea is to try to identify where I might have complex formulas, and I might have to maybe want to simplify them. From here, I could go ahead and view in Salesforce, for example, and take a look at it there. And then I can see if I need to, maybe I'm past the character limit, things like that, and so on and so forth. So I guess it's to give you some guidance, some examples of where you can go ahead and make some improvements on formula fields. Some other ideas that we have here: package components. So if I want to find all of the components in my org that are part of a third party or managed package. So again, a simple filter here, just show me everything that's not equal to no package. No package means it's it's a Salesforce standard or custom field or custom object. But here I can also see in the filter all the different packages that I potentially have components associated with. Okay, and then from here, for example, you can go ahead and try to identify specific packages that you want to work on and find all the components related to that package and do whatever action is that you need to take there. A couple other examples. I'm not going to go through all of them now, but here's an interesting one. Deprecated components. Okay, this is all the components where the term deprecated appears somewhere in the component name. Okay, that either can be because somebody manually put it in there because that's a naming convention that you use in order to associate and say this is a component that I want to get rid of. Right, deprecate means I want to get rid of it. Or Salesforce by default actually will put it there. For example, in a situation where I upgraded a package, okay, and the package itself changed components, got rid of certain components. So then Salesforce automatically tags that component with this deprecated. So again, with one click, you're able to find all of these, which then I can potentially hand over to somebody to say, hey, let's go ahead and clean up the org and get rid of those which have already been tagged to be removed. Unused reports and dashboards. Okay, so for those of you that you've authenticated to your production org, you're collecting usage on reports and dashboards. I want to find out, okay, how many of them have the usage level of unused, or in this case, we added rarely used if that's significant for you, but you can remove that if you don't want to include those. And in this case, in my example, I have over 3,000 of those in my demo org, right? That's if I get rid of the rarely, just let's see what's purely unused. Unused means nobody's touched this report or dashboard in a long period of time in which I've been collecting usage. I still have over 3,000 of them. All right, boom. Why am I keeping those? I don't want to take a chance that I'm going to have to try to fix them or anything like that. Let's clean up the org and get rid of them and so on and so forth. So these are pre-built in to give you some ideas. Here's another one, empty description fields. These are again, custom fields in which the description is empty, which means this will help you identify where do I need to improve my documentation. That's a separate type of a project as well. All right, go ahead, because we know best practice of Salesforce is that we should have a description in our components. So now you can find out where you need to add some documentation. Okay, and I just actually want to show you something that actually came in today. I had in general, I'm trying to encourage you here to use this all components as a starting point for your research. All right, and I had a use case that a customer sent me today in an email. All right, and I just I created a custom view for it because I want to save this for future use. And I saved it here under my views, right? I created a custom view for it, and I call it Orphan Workflow Actions, okay, with no automations. They said to me, how can I find out where all the workflow actions are not associated to any automation? And I said, simple. You simply go ahead and say, let's find all the 3 workflow actions that we support. And I say, show me all the ones with impacted components are 0. All right, that means by definition that these are workflow automations that have no associated automation, no associated to any other component. And very, very quickly that resolved their question. Okay, so hopefully that was clear, and you'll find other use cases, I'm sure, to use this very, very nice new feature. Okay, let's move on. Oh, this I just put here as an example of a template. This is using these tools that I just showed you. Think of the amazing thing you can do here by creating a template like this for your management, okay? And you can create an analysis insights template. So you can put all these different examples that you have from those views and just put the numbers here. Okay, just you can put this in front of management and say, here's something that we need to do. Here's just sort of a business justification, okay, for how you can go ahead and clean up the org and make it healthier and so on and so forth. And something like this you can really put together in less than 5 minutes using the tools that I just showed you and other places in the account that you have technical debt type of information. Okay, the next one I want to show you is what we call the free text search from within Salesforce. This is referring to our Chrome extension, which I hope, again, everybody knows about, but if you don't, it's important that you do. All right, and you can install this Chrome extension. What that allows you to do in this case is to highlight any text inside your Salesforce org, starting from there, and go ahead and initiate the free text search from within Salesforce. So the idea is that, and you can also, this complements already the existing that we had already in the Chrome extension, which was to do the search and analyze. So both types of key searches, impact analysis, you can do also starting from within Salesforce. What's in it for me? Okay, so the BAs, the admins, you can save time by working in your natural environment, which is Salesforce, and starting all the work from there and launching it from there in one click. And let me go ahead and show you how that looks. Okay, so for that, I'm going to go here into my Salesforce org, and well, let me just remind you how this works. I can go into the setup, and I go to the object manager. In this case, the object manager here, when you see, is I have the button analyze. This is to do the original search and analyze. Okay, so just to remind you, first of all, how that works. Okay, if I have to go ahead and do some kind of a research, and so let's say I want to look for the opportunity stage. That's kind of our classic. So again, I'm the admin. I'm doing my work here. And I have the analyze button. That means I've installed the Chrome extension properly. And in this case, it's launching the search and analyze. And within Salesforce, it brings for me the high level analysis results. Okay, how many I have. It tells me it's direct and indirect. Again, I'm assuming you're familiar with those terminologies. It shows me it broken down by component type, and that might be enough. If you want to go ahead and drill down into the details, then you can click here on View in Panaya, and you can go ahead and it'll literally with one click of a button now bring for you the analysis results. Okay, but what we've added to that now is the ability, as I say, to do the free text search. And so I'm going to go back here for a moment. And I'll go here, show you an example of that. Sorry, go back here. And let's say use cases, I want to look for a profile, and I want to see where does that profile exist somewhere. So I'm just going to highlight it with my mouse like this, right click, and I have here, it says search with Panaya. Okay, so this is launching instead the free text search. And it's basically populating the free text search with what I've highlighted like that. And here it is, it's showing me, okay, here's all the occurrences of where that profile exists inside it. All right, so it's a really great way, again, if you like to just start with Salesforce instead of starting inside the Panaya UI, that's the place that you're comfortable, you normally do your work, and you can do either type of search and impact analysis just starting from that environment. Okay, so I really encourage you guys again to go and install the Chrome extension. You'll find it in the Success Center and configure it. It's very, very quick and easy, and start to use it like that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so those are, as I said, those are the three things that I covered that are available to everybody. Okay, now I'm going into the ones that I say are available as add-ons. Again, some of you might have it in your subscription. You'll know it if you do. But if you don't, as I said, please let us know, and we'll be happy to show you how it works, let you try it out, and then can see if you want to add it on into your subscription. Okay, we have something called change notifications. Okay, and again, some of you might have heard this already, but the reason I'm bringing it into the webinar now is because we made some enhancements to it. So let me just explain again what it is, so in case you're not familiar with it. And this is a way to get what we call this email digest sent to you every time you do an extraction. And what you can do is you can actually either say, I want to see what is the history of the changes within the sandbox. In other words, between the two extractions. Let's say you're extracting once a week. I want to see what changed from a metadata point of view, right? What changed in the metadata between the two extractions. When I talk about change, I'm talking about create, modify, and delete. So if components were added, if components were modified, or components were deleted, they'll all be shown there inside the digest. The other thing you can do is do a comparison between the sandbox and production. Okay, so if you want to also see what has changed between sandbox and production in this current extraction, you can do that as well. Okay, what did we add? And then here you can basically say which users or Panaya users should get the digest. And what we've added now is a couple of additional features that I've highlighted here. One is that you can also now exclude external package changes. For example, like things that are updates, install, uninstall. And you can also exclude specific component types and internal configurations. So the reason we added that is to help you reduce the noise, okay, in the volume of changes using these exclusions. Okay, that's feedback that we got from customers along the way. And so as you can see here, I can add specific types and say, okay, those don't interest me. Let's don't include those in the comparison results that you give. Another things that we did here was the View in Salesforce button is now available. I'll show you what that looks like. And also, just to make it easier, the actual subject line of the email itself, when it comes into your email, now has more detail. It actually tells you what are the number of changes. So in that case, the idea is that just by reading the email subject line, you can already determine, is it worth it for me to even review this digest or not? Okay, so instead of having to drill down, it's to save you a little bit of time to show you if it's worth it. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, second. Open that up. Okay, this is an example of an email that comes. So you can see here the subject line. It tells me there are 98 changes in Panaya. That's the name of the sandbox org that you associated, that you gave. And it tells me there's no differences between the sandbox and the production. Again, these are the names that we gave, but it'll show up for you. Okay, so already, again, I just seen the subject line already, how many differences there are. And from that, basically, I can tell you, okay, is there something that I want to drill down and see or not? Okay, this is what the digest looks like. It tells me, again, the names of the orgs. It tells me the date ranges that I'm looking at for the extractions. And here it tells me how many changes there were in the sandbox and how many are different between sandbox and production. And I can drill down and click from here, and it'll show you what happens when I do that. Okay. What does it look like? Let's get it over here. Okay, so this is if I want to drill down and look at the changes in the sandbox. All right, I can see, and I can see what the change type was. Again, is it was create, a delete, or an update. I can see for things that were certain ones, I can see when they were last modified. But the idea here is I can then drill down. So let's say I want to see what exactly was updated here. What's changed? I can simply click on it, and I can see down to the code line level exactly what was changed. So this is what there was before. This is what was changed. So it's really, really easy and quick to understand what the difference was, and then to make any decisions that I need to make around that. Right? Obviously, if I'm looking at created or deleted, it's just going to show me one side full and one side empty. Right? Originally, I had nothing, and I added something there. Or deleted, of course, is the opposite. I had something there before, and it's no longer there. Okay, so that's the idea here. And what I said is what we added here was, sorry, I can select a component and view it in Salesforce from here. All right, so again, it's to help me make use of this tool. And as I said that, and we looked at the, I don't have examples of how I excluded anything, but you saw the way that I could configure it. The way it's configured, again, if you have it in your account, then you would simply go here to the same place where we set up the authentication, and then we'll see just a new section that's added to that page. So that's where we do our authentication. And down here, like you saw in the screenshot, we have the section where I can decide which of those changes I'm interested in seeing the digest, and assigning which users. And here's the new features of excluding types or packages. Okay. So again, some of you might have this, some of you don't. If you think this is going to be interesting for you, let us know, and we'll be happy to turn it on for you to try it out. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, this is very, very exciting. Okay, this is now the big buzzwords, of course, in the marketplace now is AI, ChatGPT, all those type of things. So we are jumping on that bandwagon, and we've rolled out our first, what we call generative AI based feature. We call it Explain. All right, and what does it do? So we're utilizing AI to, what I would say, explain complex component logic with one click of a button, and we're going to see that that's available from different lists and views within the UI. All right, these are the components that we're currently supporting: Apex classes, triggers, formula fields, validation rules, and flows. So, what's in it for me? What's this all about? Well, here I'll give you some example of some use cases that can really, really bring you value. So first of all, I want to clarify these customizations. Okay, I can have very, very complex logic by automations, other things, apexes, and so on. So I want to get this detailed explanation of the functionality. So I don't have to be somebody who knows how to read code. I don't have to rely on my developer to explain to me what is this apex doing. Okay, so it empowers a lot of the team to act independently. All right, saves time. It also gives you proactive documentation. We talked before about those empty description fields, if you recall. So again, we're supposed to try to document all of our different components. And for these component types, it's at your fingertips. You literally can go ahead, we'll see, and just copy paste this explanation that's generated for you automatically into these components. All right. And it's also great for quicker root cause analysis. Again, we're empowering non-technical users, okay, to have this clear understanding, for example, of error messages and things like that in order to quickly then take action. And it's really great for onboarding of new team members. All right. So again, for instead of them trying to spend weeks and weeks trying to understand how functionality works in your org, they'll be able to quickly and easily get this human readable explanation of these components and understand really quickly and bring them up to speed really fast. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. Okay. Let me go back here. And let's see, we're going to go. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Need that. I'm going to go here into the workspace. All right, and again, we'll see that there's different places I can launch this. So I'm here in a feature. All right, and I've got I chose a scope item, this Apex trigger. Okay, it doesn't matter now that it doesn't have a lot of functionality of impacting components. All right, but if I want to go ahead and, for example, I could view the source first if I want to. See the source, and you can see when I look at this, wow. Okay, if I'd have to sit here and start trying to understand what this trigger does by scrolling through all of this, okay, it's going to take me a heck of a long time, especially if I'm a new member. And I could also view in Salesforce. So instead, what I want to do is click on the explain button and look at this. This is amazing. Here it's going, and it's bringing for me. What we're doing here, by the way, just to understand, is we're sending the metadata out to a third-party AI provider, bringing it back in and displaying it here for you. And here it is. It's a nice, clear, understandable explanation of what this whole messy Apex trigger was doing. And it goes all the way through. And of course, you can see here that I have here the copy button, which means at any point in time, by the way, I can click on copy, but otherwise I can wait till it finishes and then simply click on this. And now I can go ahead again, go to the description area for that Apex, paste it in there, and very easily I've got my documentation right there without any effort whatsoever. Okay. So again, if I compare the source code here to the explanation there, you can see incredibly the difference between much easier to look at this to understand what's going on. All right, I'll just show you one other example. If I come over here to go back to our all components view that we looked at earlier, and I'm gonna go back here. And again, from here, if I started my research from here, for example, maybe I again went to some Apex class over here, and what I see here is I want to look for ones that have a lot of, for example, impacted components, and I go ahead and I find this one right there. Again, I could start with the view source and see again, it looks a little bit tricky, but not a problem. Go to the explanation, and also here I can find it. So the explanation button, by the way, is available or from within going to do a view source, or it's available just by itself. We'll see, as you saw in the UI. If I just want to go straight to that, that's also okay. So it's available from within the analysis results. It's available from the all components view. It's now available from the automation overview as well. So anywhere that potentially you might want to be doing research on a component, you'll find it there. Okay, and this is really nice to see the how this Apex class working. It really describes it really nicely. This is something that's related to products, and really makes a lot of sense. Okay, um, let's see. I think we've got one more, two more. Okay. We have something ForeSight to Jira integration. Okay, again, I'm sure not all of you are using Jira, but many customers are, and that's why we invested in this. Until now, some of you might know we had a Jira plugin integration, which basically worked from Jira to ForeSight. Okay, so within Jira, I could have a plugin which gave me a button there, which would allow me to click and then create a ForeSight feature from the Jira story, and then retrieve high-level analysis results. We created this, again, based on customer feedback that said that they're looking for the reverse integration. I want to be able to create a Jira story based on the components I select within a ForeSight analysis. And then also there's an auto linkage between the Jira and the ForeSight feature for backward reference. Why? What's in it for me? Okay, here's one use case. Again, the idea is that BAs or admins, right? They work in Panaya. Okay, that's their place of their main system of record, if you will. They do their impact analysis, and then they can decide, okay, if this is something that's complex, requires development, then they can automatically create the Jira story, which is then given to the developers. In other words, the developers are only working not on all change requests. They're only working on the ones that really, because it could be that some of these a very easy, quick and dirty, so to speak, analysis does not require any development. The BAs, the admins can handle it by themselves. It's declarative work, for example. Okay, but so therefore I don't bother the developers. The developer system of record is in Jira. That's where they work. They don't need to be in Panaya. So the idea is we can have this synchronization, if you will, between the people working in Panaya, the ones working in Jira, and they can send the stories, so to speak, to Jira, and then the developers know to take over from there to do the development work that they need to do. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go back in this case to the workspace. And I'm going to create a new feature. And I'm going to call this it's a problem I have, lead stage issue. Okay. And okay, I'm going to add a scope item. And in this case, I want to look at a field. And it's said it's related to the stage. I'm just going to put that in. And here's the one I'm looking for, the lead stage. Okay. Okay, I see I've got 463 impacted components. Let's go ahead and drill down. Okay, now assuming I'm the admin, I've done my research and I decided which are the components that I think need some work here. So I don't know. I've got a page layout. I'm choosing a flow. I'm choosing an Apex class. Okay, however many components I decide I need to select. This is what my research has shown. Now I have here a button here called Create Jira Issue. Boom, one click. All right, it's opening up a place for me now to put in information about the Jira story. Okay, so I'm going to give some, again, I'll give some information here. Lead stage update, and you can see what it's done here. It says, okay, the issue was created from Panaya ForeSight analysis. It gives me a link back to that one that I just created, the lead stage issue. It's brought for me the components, the 3 components that I selected. Again, it gives me links to them that are to take me into the Salesforce, into the sandbox, in case I want to go ahead and look at them in Salesforce. Okay, the developer who's going to get this Jira story, that's what they're interested in. They're interested in seeing what they need to see in Salesforce. Okay, I can add other text to here if I want. Okay, again, at this point, some instructions, please change the stage to whatever and submit. Okay, that's done. Where's it going now? So I'm going to open up here. Here's my Jira. I'm going to refresh the screen here. And there it is. Here's my lead state update issue. And here it is. The issue was created from Panaya ForeSight. Here's the link. This will take me back to that issue that's where I just was in Panaya. Here are the components with their links. So for example, if I click here on the campaign layout, it's going to open it up for me, boom, and take me right there in the sandbox to the campaign layout. Okay. And so on. Here's the text that I added. So as you see here, it's really nice. If you're using Jira, one click of a button, it allows me to just automatically generate a Jira issue from the specific components from the impact analysis results, which components I decided I need to work on. And now the developer is going to come in here, and this is what they're going to see. This is what interests them. If they want to go back to Panaya, they can go ahead and get back to the original analysis where it came from. Okay, and that's the new integration that we've created. So again, if you're using Jira, you're interested in this, please let us know. It requires a little bit of configuration of setup to do. We'll give you the instructions, explain what needs to be done in order to get this set up. Here you can see the example of the original integration, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, with the reverse one that I talked about before, which would set up this button here inside the Jira story. And from here, I could go ahead and create an analysis in Panaya, a feature in Panaya, and bring back some results. I'm not going to demonstrate that now, but that's also something, in case you're not familiar with it, that's also available. If that is more relevant for the way that you work as far as wanting to integrate between Jira and Panaya, so you should know that that's also something that's available. Okay, just checking the time. I think we're just about done. Okay, the last one I want to talk about, I'm not going to demonstrate this now. I just want to let you know that it exists. Okay, in general, Panaya has APIs that are available that you can use to help integrate also between Panaya into your pipeline. You can use the API calls to create and update Panaya features. But we released now a new one, which can be very, very useful, which gets the feature analysis results from a saved view, a custom view. We saw those examples before, which you define. So you can say, here's the specific piece of information, the specific columns that I want. This is the filters that I want to apply. All right, just like we saw in that all components view. All right, and I say there, and I reference the save view in the API call. All right, and therefore it will then retrieve for me exactly those results. What's in it for me? Okay, well, again, it allows you to do this easy integration of ForeSight into your CI/CD pipeline, and it allows you to basically have the impact analysis as what I would call a quality gate. at different points in the development life cycle. Is it earlier when you're first starting to plan for your change? You can do it later on. For example, right before you're about to deploy to production and you want to do another check. All right. So you can find out information in the Success Center all about the APIs that we have. There's a way you can try them out there as well. So just to know that that also exists along with as we have customers who are already using this, as I said, to, for example, integrate into Azure DevOps. So it doesn't matter what what your pipeline is. It's very easy to write the script for it and utilize those APIs. So again, if you're interested in more information, let us know. Okay, I'm just going to end with a couple of other things that you should also know about that we've added here. The scope item selection now retrieves up to 1,500 results. It used to be 500. Again, customers really asked for it to be increased. And there's some other things here. The free text search now includes remote site settings. So if that's you want to look for hard-coded values in there, it will retrieve those as well. And if you were using CPQ, Salesforce CPQ, that feature, then we've added some other things around that as well. So I'll just show you one last thing here. And so if I come here to the, this is the place, if I come here to the new analysis, for example, and I write here, I don't know, opportunity, very general term, and I look across everything, then you'll see here that it's showing me it'll retrieves up to 1,500, what used to be 500. And the wild card, though, you can then use is now the asterisk sign, and I can use that then to search as a wild card for additional pieces. So opportunity stage, wild card shows me whatever is between opportunity and stage, no matter how many things are in there, and narrows it down for me. Okay, that's I think completes what I wanted to cover today. I hope you found it helpful. Before we open up the microphones for people to ask questions, and I really thought this would be a good opportunity. We're a community of Panaya ForeSight users. Just if you could write in the chat, actually, if you found this webinar useful, if you're interested in me doing more webinars like this every few months as a good way to introduce these new features. So please just indicate in the chat if you found it helpful. And if you didn't find it helpful, I'm happy to get constructive criticism as well. It's important for us to know we don't want to waste anybody's time. We want to only provide really, really world-class, useful, informative information for you. Okay.
So I see that we already have questions in the Q&A box.
Oh, okay.
Q&A box, so we can start by answering it. Even if you want to speak out loud, just raise your hand and we can unmute you, and you can, whatever you feel comfortable with. So let's start with what we have on the Q&A box.
Okay.
Benjamin, would you like to open it, or would you like me to read it?
Go ahead, just read it for me.
Okay, so one was just very helpful. Thank you. So thank you for that feedback. The second is about the technical data overview. So specifically on the unused reports and dashboards, can we add the report ID value to the columns, or the experts?
Okay, that's a fantastic question, and you're not the first one to ask it. And that's a feature that I've already requested from product management. Exactly that, because I was told that having the report ID will make it a lot easier for you to do the deprecation or the cleanup of those. So yeah, I'm pushing hard to get that included. So it's a feature that I'm working on, getting product to work on.
Perfect. So if you have any other questions, you can either raise your hand or just write it in the Q&A box. And thank you for the great feedback.
Yeah. Did you open up the mic in case somebody wants to ask? I'm happy to hear.
So you need to raise your hand, and I can
Okay.
open up the mic so not everybody will talk at the same time.
If you're shy, you can write it in the Q&A, but I'm happy to hear your voices. Tell me who's asking the question and share.
So it's good to know that you discovered new features, and we keep developing more things. So hopefully until the next time, we'll have a lot more to share. So if there are no other questions, Okay, so we got another question. Where do we find the Explain AI again within all the components and where else?
Okay, so first of all, again, to activate the Explain AI is something, again, it's something you have to talk to your customer success manager about. It's an add-on. We have to turn it on. By the way, you should just know that also because, as I mentioned, we are sending the metadata out of the Panaya cloud into a third party. There is a terms and conditions document that needs to be signed by somebody in the organization as a prerequisite. Again, it's to understand, basically, it says two things. One is that you agree that your metadata is being sent outside of Panaya, and second, that you agree that Panaya is not responsible for the 100% accuracy of the results that are retrieved. Again, because we don't have any control over what's coming back. So it's a simple document of 2 pages. And again, customer success manager will share that with you as a prerequisite to turning it on. Where it will be available, again, you'll see it. You can see it from, for example, any of the views like the all components view. The explain button is there. So I select any component and I can do that. The ones that were supported, I mentioned the 5 that were supported. If you have the automation overview, by the way, not everybody does, but if you have that, then it's available from there. And it's also available as you see it here. Again, I select and I can get it there, and just from inside the impact analysis results. Okay, so if as I showed you, if I drill down to something, you can I went into that. You can, by the way, when in the results, you can see it both from the graph and from the list view. Okay, because we try to do both. So we always try to cover both because you can work from either one. So if I'm in the list view, it's here. If I'm in the graph, it's added to the action menu, right? So sorry. No, here it is, explain. Okay, so you can do it from either one. Okay, any other questions?
I guess not. Once again, thank you. We will be sending the recording to you and to everyone who registered to the webinar, even if you couldn't make it. If you have anything, you have Benjamin's and Mark's, any other feedback, feel free to share it, ask questions after the webinar. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer it. And as I said, until next time, it was great having you.
Okay, thanks everybody. So happy you joined, and I look forward to just getting more feedback about these all these features.
Bye-bye. Have a great day, night,
Bye bye.
whatever. Bye-bye.